In this presentation, we will add classes to business accounts which we had prior left as unclassified as the default, adding classes allowing us to adjust the reports in useful ways within QuickBooks. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. Here we are in the home page. We currently have the open windows open. We can open the open windows by going to the view drop down and selecting the open windows list. We're then going to go over to the reports and take a look at our objective. We're going to select reports drop down, go to company and financial, take a look at that profit and loss. We want to look at the profit and loss by class. So profit and loss by class. We're going to change the date range to the year that we are working on, 01/01/20 to 12/31/20. That's January 1st to December 31st, 2020. You'll note that we have been doing as easy a process as possible, adding classes only when necessary to the personal and not classifying the business, leaving them as the default. Now let's go through and look at the benefits of adding classes. And part of the benefits that we will have will be that we can sort this report and filter it a little bit more easily just to show business and just to show personal. We can also do that with the profit and loss standard, which can make some nicer looking reports that will be more specialized towards either the business or personal side rather than having the two classes lined out. But this will still be our default report most of the time. To do this, all we're going to do is go through all of these unclassified areas just like we did before and assign to a new class, which we're just going to call business class. And once we do that, once we do that to all items, the unclassified item will go away. When we do this, want to point out a few different things that are useful. One, we can add classes later, which we'll do now, and reclassify things at a later time. And it's pretty easy to do that. Two, the ease of adjustment to do this. So note how easily we can adjust this. Three, note that if we wanted to adjust between classes, if we had, in other words, misclassified things as we've done in the past, totally on purpose, then it is possible to go back in through here and reclassify those in a very easy way as well. So this will be a bit tedious of process because it's for a lot of accounts, but just note how easy it is to do. We're going to go from the ending report here, the unclassified. We're just going to double click on anything that's in this unclassified area and classify it. So we're going to double click on this. There's 3 items in here, so I'm just going to double click on each one using the zoom feature. And there'll be different types of forms. This is going to be a deposit because it was on the income side. And everything's going to be driven by forms mostly for QuickBooks. So it's not going to go back to the check register. We could go to the check register, but we don't need to. This would be faster to do. So we'll get used to some of the forms that we'll see as we go through this process as well. So we want to add a new class, and the new class I'm just going to call business. Business. And I'm just going to tab, and we're going to quickly set up the business class. And then save and close, and yes. And then we'll do this again for all the items in here. I'm just going to double click on this amount. We're going to go to the class, change it to business. Save and close, yes, okay. Next one, double click on it. We're going to change the class to business. Notice they're all the same form. Save and close. You have changed the transaction, yes. And yes. And then we'll go back out of here and refresh. And so we've now moved that over. Now we have this new account or new class called business. And what we want to do now is once we allocate everything out of unclassified, this is kind of our default saying, hey, you didn't classify something here. So if we missed something, now everything that's in this unclassified means that we should go through it and classify it, and then this column will go away. That's how QuickBooks intends this unclassified column to be, not as the default as we had it before, but as a column to tell us that something is unclassified. So again, as we had it before, it's a little bit easier for data input because it requires less. But this is really the way that it could help us, and we'll show some advantages to using this format, even though it takes a little bit more data input. So we'll do this, keep going through here. Here's the 5,000. We're going to put this into the business class by double clicking on it. Now we see a check, but there's always going to be a class area here. So there's the class area. And we're just going to say this is business. And save and close. Yes, Yes. Closing this back out. We're just going to continue on this process. Here's another 300. Double clicking on that. Go into that 300. We're going to make it a business class. So we'll change that to business. Save and close. Yes. Yes. And close this back out. And then we're going to go back down and we have this 600 there. So we're just going to double click on that. We're going to go into that 600. We're going to go to the class and make it business. Then we'll save and close. Yes, yes. Close that back out. And then we'll scroll back down. There's the 370 office supplies. Something's in it. So we'll double click on it. Go to the 370. Change the class in the check. Notice these are all checks because they're all outflows. So most of them will be checks. Save and close. If we were using bills or something like that, they would have a class as well. So pretty much every form we will use that will be used for the income statement, double clicking, will have some type of class setting, double clicking, and we'll be able to find whatever class is in that form and change it. Typically the forms that will be seen on the income statement for income will be deposits or invoices or sales receipts. And on the expense side, they're going to be checks and bills. So we'll classify this as business and save and close. Yes, yes. Almost there, then we have to stop. So 320, post office, classified, business, save and close. Yes, yes. Closing this back out. Now we've got the 1005, the rental property, classing, business, save and close. Yes, yes. Closing this back out. We're on the telephone. Double clicking on the telephone. Business account. Yes, yes. And then we'll go to the last one, which is utilities. Double clicking on that. And once we do this, hopefully the unclassified will go away. So we're going to save and close. Yes, yes. Close this back out. Now there's no unclassified column. So that's going to be the nice thing about this. And now when we see this report now, note what we can do here, a few different things. We can use the filtering options, which means we can go to the customized reports. We can go to the headers and footers. We go to the filters. It's the filtering option. And we can go to classes down here and then filter by class. So if I want to see a business only, we can go to business and then take a look at it. And now we have basically a profit and loss that just shows the business and the total. If I just want to see the business form here, and of course we could do the same for the personal. So I can go to customize, filters. You still got to go back down to classes here and then change the business to personal. And then we could see the personal side. And then if I want to turn it off, I go to custom, filters. I still got to go to classes and then remove. And that brings it back. So this is our default. We always want to go to the default to see if that unclassified column is there so that we can reclassify. Now if I do this to the regular profit and loss, let's see, reports, company and financial, profit and loss, 010120 to 123120. And now let's just reclassify this. This has both business and personal in it. What would happen if I try to filter out the business or personal? So if we go to the customized reports, filters, and we go to classes, and we want to just see the business. So and then we'll say okay. It filters out all the personal. So now we have a pretty nice looking profit and loss from this format. We can use this, we can memorize this report. So it'll memorize that filter by using the memorizing option. But just remember before you use this report, because you want to go back to the profit and loss by class and make sure that everything is properly classified. Because if it's not, then your report on this method, your report here using filters will not be correct. It could be missing data that's not classified. The unclassified areas will be missing. So, and we could go to customize reports, and we could go to filters and classes, and then go to the personal and see that, and it'll filter out. Now here's just our personal, and it looks a bit more professional now that it doesn't have two classes. It's got the right heading and whatnot. So just a few things to look at. Note that if I go to the balance sheet here, reports, profit and loss, balance sheet, and I go to 12/31/20, this net income is always going to show the total of both classes. So as you look at the profit and loss by both items, it's going to be the 9988. When you make a profit and loss for just the business, you got to realize that the net income is not going to tie out to the balance sheet. And again, the net income isn't usually shown on the balance sheet, but just realize that the equity section and what's rolling into the equity section is total business and personal together. So when you filter out the profit and loss, then you got to realize what's going on, or what's the relationship between the balance sheet and the income statement. Well, the balance sheet is showing all the profit and loss rolling into the equity section. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.